Hey guys, how you doing? Trekker G here again. Today I kind of like to talk about my Trekker G Facebook page. You know, I've got a lot of experienced drivers on there, and I've got a lot of inexperienced drivers on there. And I kind of reached out to the experienced drivers, and, you know, what I told them is a lot of the new drivers don't like to ask questions or ask for help from experienced drivers. You know, whether it be they just don't want to look dumb, or maybe it's because they don't want to be laughed at or ridiculed or, you know, yelled at in some cases. Whatever the reason, you know, basically what I did is I asked the experienced drivers, what kind of advice would you give a new driver? And I had an overwhelming response. I was actually very pleased with it. There was a lot of good advice, you know, and a lot of it was safe driving tips. You know, you're following distance, checking your mirrors, getting out and look, you know, be patient, things like that. And it was great advice. And if you haven't checked it out yet, go check it out. Read the advice that was on there. I was really pleased with it. But today I kind of like to go on my own on this advice. You know, my best advice to you: remember your first day. Always remember your first day. And what I mean by that is, remember how hard it was, or how hard it's going to be on your first day. That way, later on, when you do get some experience under your belt, you don't fall into this never-ending cycle of making fun of somebody or laughing at somebody or not wanting to help somebody that don't have as much experience as you get or you're going to have. You know, remember that first day. That's the best advice I can give you. That way, when a new driver comes to you, when you do have experience, you don't become that bitter old trucker that don't want to help. You know, if you remember your first day, you'd be glad to help somebody, because that first day, or, you know, that first year, you're going to want all the help you can get. You know, when I say help, maybe it's just something as simple as getting out of the truck and spotting for somebody. Hell, even after 28 years, I'm more than welcome a spotter, believe me. Some days I could put my trailer in the hole on the first try. Some days I just can't do it without 10 pull-ups. We all have our good and our bad days. But if you're seeing somebody that's inexperienced, or even just having a bad day, get out and spot for them. If they don't want your help, well, all right, well, don't help them. If you run into that experienced driver that ridicules you or laughs at you, well, you probably didn't want his help to begin with, believe me. There's plenty out there that will and are willing to help you. Don't use one person, basically, that's a jerk, stop you from asking others for help. And that goes the same for veteran drivers. You know, just because that one new guy doesn't want your help, doesn't mean there isn't 10 out there that do want your help. That's what I have found. You know, as to the veteran drivers, you got to remember, these guys are out here trying to earn a living to feed their families, just like you and I. So why would you make fun of them for just trying to make a living? You know, I see these same drivers that are making fun of these kids, or these young men and women, that are also bitching, or excuse my language, but, you know, complaining that people don't want to work. Well, these guys are out here trying to make a living. So why are you going to give them a hard time? New drivers break that cycle. And eventually, there won't be a problem anymore as far as the ridiculing and the laughing, or the people just not wanting to help anymore. That's the best advice I can give you. I mean, I can go round and around, and there's going to be 100 guys tell me how wrong I am and that I need to stop complaining about it. But I'd like to see this industry get better, not worse. So I'm going to cut this short, just because, like I said, I'm going round and round, and it heats this whole conversation just heats me up. But I'm going to stop now. All right, hey, y'all be safe out there. Thanks.